Ain't got no gas in it.
Hello, it's Bill Colorado 4x4 van. I want to give you guys a post-Expo update. I took some footage and I'll put it in here and there in this video of the drive, but I did that video 2 years ago, so I wasn't going to bore you guys with more of that. And there were some problems, self-inflicted, going down. I ran out of gas 25 miles short of Flagstaff. Miscalculation on my part. There was a strong headwind that last day, 30 to 40 miles an hour headwinds, and even though Serenity didn't act like anything was different, she sucked down a lot more gas. And with the faulty gas gauge and me just doing the calculation by mileage, I came up 2 gallons short of getting there. So that started a process that took about 24 hours to correct between the toe of shame into the expo itself, and then various difficulties getting the system primed again when we tried to do it ourselves with some help from some good friends at the expo and some idiots that were hired. I won't bore you with all that, but when we got a good mechanic on Sunday afternoon came in, and within 20 minutes she was up and running again. So now I know how to do it, and I'll make sure I have the tools to do it with me. But I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to be a lot more diligent about my fuel, watching the fuel consumption. We had a great trip. Got to meet a lot of you, and hopefully everyone that wanted to see Serenity and talk to us was able to. We were at the very back on the north side, past the horse stables by the riding arena. Great spot, but very far, the furthest point away you could get from the action and the vendors and everything. But several people came by, and I talked to several more people walking around the show. So hopefully we got to see everybody that we could. I tried to meet with as many as I could, time allowing, but the weather, 2 out of the 3 days, the weather was bad. A lot of wind, a lot of rain, and snow. So because of that, we were limited in our outdoor activity. Saturday was really the only good day, and we used that to go to the show itself. And we talked to several people there. I was able to meet Ronnie Dahl and Torben from Four Wheeling Western Australia. Spent some good amount of time with Overlanders, talking to them, and Bevan, a lot of people at the DIY section, and my neighbor whose family owns Hallmark Campers, able to meet and talk with them. So we used Saturday to mainly talk to everybody that was at the show, and then we fit in everything else as we could. But yeah, because of the bad weather, we spent a non-normal amount of time inside the camper. And I'll give you a quick look around. This is what it looks like when you don't have your storage finished. You have a bunch of bins and baskets everywhere, and we've taken a bunch of stuff in the house already last night. But so you spend a lot of your time moving stuff around. You have these bins, you move them when you want to cook. You have all your cooking stuff out, and you move other things over to this side, and add to all that a 1-year-old, and you have a situation that isn't good. She liked to hit her head on things, very hard things sometimes, so we had to just, it was a good shakedown, because it was kind of the worst case that we'd ever expect to have weather-wise, and clogged up nature of in here wise. It's only going to get better from here. I guess we'll do a good and bad analysis. The good things, other than my screw up, Serenity performed flawlessly. Average, like to cruise at 55 miles an hour. Some of the real steep passes, we went over Wolf Creek, Kenosha, and Poncha passes, and there were a couple of other steep hills in there, Crow Hill coming out of, I forget what town that is, but we had there are several steep passes we went over, and I have a big gap in my gearing between, it's a 5-speed, First is a crawler gear, so it's really a 4-speed, second, third, fourth, fifth. There's a big gap between third and fourth. So when you're fifth for cruising, you go down to fourth when you're on a hill. I tried to stay in fourth as much as possible. If you have to go down to third, you're going to stay in third, which is about 25 miles an hour top speed, until you get to the top, because there's too big of a gap there to get enough momentum to get into third, into fourth, and keep going. So, but all in all, she did fine. Like I said, average 55 mile an hour cruise in almost all situations. I was pushing all this air and all the extra weight. Average 12 miles per gallon. So really no complaints. Serenity did very, very well. So very happy there. The camper, we got a good shakedown of all the systems, and with all the bad weather, like I said, there was a lot of rain, heavy rain at times, and heavy snow. We stayed Sunday night into Monday, and most of the vendors and everybody had left, and we moved over to the main vendor area, and there were about 5 trucks, Overlanders, ourselves, and 3 others that just parked on the flat cement over there where the vendors were, and we camped there, right across from the DIY. We camped there Sunday night into Monday, and it snowed and rained. Snow-rain mix till the late evening, then it snowed heavy, and had no leaks, no problems. The solar, even with all the bad weather, was 100%. Every morning by the time we got up, 8:30, 9 o'clock, it was already at 100%. So had no trouble whatsoever with the camper. We tried everything out, obviously except the bathroom that's not done. Sam took her baths in the sink here. The hot water, the Truma worked great. We used the Travel Buddy oven. If you don't remember, that's the Australian oven that Ronnie Dahl recommends here. We use that to, Sam loves tater tots, so we made tater tots in there a couple of times, and that worked great. Late morning when we were getting ready to do things, we'd fill it up, turn it on for 2 hours. We'd go do our thing. By the time we came back for lunch, they were ready, and worked out great, so use that. The fridge freezer worked awesome. I'm glad I got the biggest one available, because with the 3 of us, we needed all that space, and we could have even used a little more. We watched a movie one night when the weather was bad, and that worked out great. The water pump with the accumulator tank works great. Pump doesn't run as much. I'd say it cuts down the running of the pump by about 1/3 versus the van that I don't have an accumulator tank in. So that worked fine. I said the heating system worked great. We had to run the heat pretty much all the time because it was cold, even during the day. Even the sunny day, Saturday, the high was only 60. So the other days it was in the mid to low 40s and rainy and snowy. So we ran the Truma a lot. And when we needed a quick warm up, like we came in one day, we were all wet. We fired up the fireplace, got it going also, and it warmed up in here very quickly. And you know, like my wife was able to sit in front of it and get warmed up real quick. So that worked out great, exactly as designed. Now we'll go over the bad. And there were some bad things. This was a shakedown trip, so we have some things that we're going to have to make improvements on. The biggest is moving this. As much as I like the idea, and there was going to be the dresser in here, it's too small. I slept back there the first night, but it was too crowded in here, so I ended up sleeping up here the other 3 nights. But it's too tight in here. Even Sam would try to stand up. She'd hit her head. She was constantly hitting her head on here unless we stayed close to her and watched her the whole time. And even though there is this seating area, and that's what my wife used the most, and we'd have Sam up here, she would stand here and look at herself, but she had trouble. We had to keep an eye on her with the granite, even though we're going to radius these off, and she's only going to be young for a little while. This was just too unusable. All that space back there was really just unusable during the day. And if you know my van videos, that's where my wife and now my daughter would like to hang out during the day. There is a seating area here, but that's just for hanging out. And then the work area here. that all worked great, but we need that area back there to be usable so that my wife can get back there with her laptop and get comfortable. There's plenty of room to sit up and watch TV or just cuddle up back there, so that's a place to spread out and to be comfortable. And I don't have that now. I made these distances, this one and this one, as big as I could. Used the smallest. This is a 4-inch mattress. This is a 6-inch. So we used the thinnest mattress that would still be comfortable for the application, and still there's not enough room. So we're going to have to change this, and we have a couple ideas, and I'll have videos on that in the future. The next thing that didn't work too well is this heat register down here that I put in. You can see it goes here. It gets caught up in the bedding here. The heat would build up here, and here's the temperature sensor for the Truma, the furnace. So we'd have it set for 70, and it would shut off way ahead of time because all the heat stayed. It would heat up over here and it would turn off. So the circulation didn't get to the rest. We even had one morning where there was condensation that built up on this granite slab because it was colder over here. Even though I have heat runs, there's one under the toe kick there, there's one there, there's one in the bathroom here. I have other heat runs, but because it got so hot there, the trim was shutting off faster than it should. So this area over here got real cold, and another area that got cold was up there. So we had some condensation on that window. We had some condensation back here because the heat wasn't circulating properly. So I'm going to have to move that heat run somewhere else further back. And I've got some more of that ducting that I can use, and I'll probably run it back and get it over here somewhere. Not sure exactly where, but that's going to have to be rerouted. The other thing that happened electrically was our max air. The last night we stayed in the mountains coming home, and even though I have this pillow here that I put in when it's cold to keep the heat in, and we turn the fan off, condensation built up in here in the middle of the night. It started trying to open and it just freaked out. So I think condensation got in here. Everlanders reported that in the early spring to me too, that theirs did that. So I pulled the fuse, and we've left it off to dry out, and hopefully that'll be all that takes. The only other bad was just getting things done. It was real cluttered in here, and even though we talked to several full-time live-in couples, and that's just the way a small space is. This is only 80 square feet. When you're doing something, stuff's out, you have to put it away. It's just the way it is. But with having no drawers and cabinets done, really made it more cluttered than it normally would be. So that made it hard, especially for 3 people for 5-6 days, which isn't a long time, but it kind of is. You need everything to live daily for that long. So that's the other bad thing. I'm going to have to get more of the storage done, and we're going to have to find a way to get more storage in here. Even though I have the dresser idea, that really doesn't work for us. We're not full-time. We're only part-timers here and there. So we need somewhere to store our suitcases, carry all our clothes and everything. So I'm probably going to put bigger cabinets up here once this is moved that we can put our bags into, and that way they're out of the way when we're not using them, and we can get them out at night or in the morning when we need to use them, and then put them away so they're out of the way to free up more space in here for using it. The last kind of bad thing, but it's really part of my plan anyway, was being in cold weather like that. The lows at night were below freezing, in the high 20s a couple of nights. Especially that last night up in the mountains, I think it was down around 25. Condensation built up part of that will be solved, not a lot, but some. And part of that will be solved when I get this heating circulation fixed. But the rest of it will be solved by my dehumidifier that I was planning on putting in the cabinet up here anyway. One of those tubes is for a drain for it that goes down out the bottom, the floor, down below here. So I won't have a tank to empty all the time. I'll just permanently attach it to a drain. It'll empty out. And that wire there is to power it. So I'll have that in the cabinet up there, and that will get rid of any excess humidity in here. I know it was, well, it says it's 39 now, and I don't know how accurate this is, but the humidity got up high enough that even the bigger windows had a little bit on them, and especially that one, which was right by my head when I was sleeping, it built up pretty good. So we'll get rid of that. That'll take the last of it out, and hopefully that'll solve that problem. But overall, an excellent trip. We really had a good time. Just like 2 years ago, it went by just like that, and we're back home and back in the grind again. But very encouraged by how she handled and what happened, the way it was used. We all agreed definitely a big upgrade over the van. Has all the features of the van plus more, and more space. We just have to learn how to configure the space a little better for our personal needs. And we're keeping in mind that, you know, Sam's not going to be one forever. She's only going to be little for a while, but we do definitely need to open it up a little more so that we have more usable space where you're not constantly watching out about banging your head or trying to get cramped up and get comfortable. So that's the Post-Expo update. I saw a bunch of you down there, and I told you, and I'll tell you again, please send pics to the Facebook page. I get to be up here. Send pictures of your projects. I'd love to see them, and especially if you're just starting, because then as you go, I'll have something to compare to. That would be awesome. I have a couple of you are already doing that, and I love it. And if with your permission, I'll put them on the Facebook page for everyone to see. But if you'd rather keep it private, that's fine too. I just really like seeing people doing this, getting this done. So I keep sending pics and keep posting comments, and that's the update. I'll have another one for you when we have more to report. Until next time.